First off, if you like your farming RPGs mixed, you've got to check out Everdream Valley at some point. It is a mix of adventure, of course, exploring, crafting, and farming. Game's about a summer and there's all the possible fun one can have as a kid and remember it for a lifetime. Just check this out. The game's actually available right now through a playable demo on Steam right now and finally due out on PCs and Switch sometime possibly next year. Moving on, we have this thing called Youkai Inn, which is pretty much in its very early stages of development. They actually started working on this game like January this year, with plans to start a Kickstarter campaign for it sometime soon. And I think it's got everything a cute simulation game needs. There's a 2D top-down pixel art, kawaii and all of that. Just take a look. This game is coming to PCs only, apparently, and this is what they came up with. See, Stardew Valley has inspired a lot of companies to make farming RPG clones. The latest attempt of which out there goes by Lightyear Frontier. What I like to call Stardew Valley. I know it's a little corny, I know, but it will actually make sense in just a second, trust me. This is the trailer that came out with just a tiny bit over a month ago, and so this game's in its early stages of development, but possibly due out mid to late next year. Dinkum is another farming sim inspired by the Australian outback. It's all about the tropical eucalyptus forests and deserts, hell, maybe even kangaroos. I don't know. What I do know is that there's an online co-op element going on there, and there's some crazy wombats you gotta kill along. Have a look, mate. This game is a PC game and due out possibly early to mid next year.
Where did you come from? What brings you to our peculiar little slice of the frontier?
So Rune Factory 5, it's a pretty popular game, by the way, farming RPG. You all probably know what the launch in Japan months ago with a lot of positive acclaim, but a Western release also is scheduled for the following months. Well, as it turns out, this game is actually hitting Switch only. I mean, it's a Switch exclusive and due out March 22nd next year. Here, to accompany the news, they even came up with a new one.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we see each other as equals. Yes.
Alright, Moving into open world territory, we have Dreamland Village Life, which actually had its Kickstarter campaign just started and on its way to PCs only sometime next year. Dreamland, as you could possibly tell, is definitely inspired by the classics, in which the player arrives in a small village to farm, fish, go on RPG adventures, mine, dive, explore, and of course make friends. Check this out. Now, if you're an open world kind of farming simulation guy, and at the same time, or gal by the way, and at the same time a huge fan of minimalistic art, I'd highly recommend keeping at least a couple of eyes on Aka, not AKA, I would assume. Something out of a dream, I'd have to say, that's really artistic and at the same time really brave with it. See, Aka is on its way to PCs only through Steam and due out sometime next year. Sunnyside, on the other hand, not to mention just came our way no more than like a few hours ago, is a Japanese-focused farming simulation, but not like, it ain't just a farming sim, it's more like a relationship you're about to have, and it's an RPG as well. Yeah, but look, this game is coming to PCs, Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One mid to late next year, and this is what it's all about. Really sure if we actually had another game like this that came out this year, but yeah, you wake up on a beach of a foreign island, unable to recall anything. Like, was it Rune Factory? I don't know. Look, we have here a new Leaf Memories, another 3D farming sim inspired by the classics like Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing, funded fully through Kickstarter and also due out March next year. Check this out. Alright. Coral Island is at this moment the most successful game funded through a Kickstarter campaign, like pledging like 20 times over its initial goal and not even into stretch goal territory anymore. I mean, like, they're all mid and like ready to blow up. This is a reimagined farm sim inspired by the classics with the aim to modernize and make this experience more inclusive than any other farming simulation in the market, or at least that's what they said. Anyway, this game is coming to PCs only, possibly mid next year. Yeah, like, here's a Gardens Witch life. You just moved into this new town because whatever, and there's only one vacant property you can move in, which is an abandoned witch house. It's the same deal as any other farming sim in this list. You get to farm, harvest, and grow livestock, but maybe even more. Who knows? This one's out for the PCs only sometime next year. Ranchers is an open-world country life sim, of course, for up to 4 folks at a time. Online quality. It's obvious. Same trick, you gotta do like raise animals, grow crops, craft machines, build your dream house and all, with the benefit of a gigantic open world where mines and dangerous monsters abound. Totally new. Not check it out. This game is coming to PCs only sometime, possibly in the future. Sometime in the future. Check out Shift RPG, a pixel art, well, obviously, RPG in which you play as a chef, traveling and tasked with bringing a once famous restaurant back to life. It looks hella fun, I'm not gonna lie, but there's a downside to all this. It's that this game is coming to the Nintendo Switch and PCs through Steam, which is great news, but not this year, neither 2022, but 2023. Late, so 2024. Moving on, we have Spirit of the Island, a life simulation RPG set on a tropical paradise where you help the locals grow crops, take care of animals, and supposedly turn a bad land into a prosperous tourist destination. Check it out. This game is available on Steam through a playable demo and possibly due out in its full sometime next year. At last year's E3, alongside some of the biggest reveals of the century, came our way a space farming sim, kind of Stardew Valley-ish project going by One Lonely Outpost. I would say definitely one worth to keep an eye out for, especially if you're a sci-fi fan, I guess. And the online multiplayer. See, this game is coming to all consoles and PCs actually early next year.